The sun was already warm on Ian's back as he worked the field, breaking the earth with his hoe in preparation for planting. It was mid-morning and the day stretched long ahead, as most days did in his village in rural Uganda. Ian's mind began to wander as his body went through the familiar motions, thinking of the tasks that would follow this one and daydreaming of the rains that would water his crops. His thoughts were interrupted by a commotion of voices in the distance. Intrigued, Ian leaned on his hoe and looked towards the center of the village where the dirt road turned. A cluster of people were gathered, and he could hear excitable chatter drifting over the open landscape. Curiosity piqued. Ian decided a break was in order. He walked the short distance to investigate what had roused the village. As he got closer, Ian saw that a few vehicles had pulled up, an uncommon sight this far off the main road. A community group had come to provide health services and information to the residents. Ian was always interested to learn what resources may be available to help improve life in the village. He joined the outer edges of the crowd to watch and listen. That's when he first saw her. A young woman stood confidently addressing the group, speaking knowledgeably about various topics from nutrition to family planning. Though wearing traditional dress, she carried herself in a modern way that stood out among the villagers. Ian found himself transfixed, her passion and poise like nothing he had experienced before in his rural life. As the talk concluded, Ian lingered, hoping for a chance to learn more. His patience was rewarded when he saw her break away to speak individually with some community members. Gathering his courage, he approached and introduced himself to Martha. She greeted him warmly, and they began to converse easily, finding common interests despite their obvious differences. Ian was struck by her intelligence and drive, as well as her easy smile. All too soon, others required Martha's attention, but not before she promised to stay and spend more time with the village if her schedule allowed another visit. Ian walked happily back to his fields, replaying their interaction and feeling a lightness in his step that had been absent before this day. Could this be the start of something new for him? Only time would tell, but from that moment, a seed was planted in Ian's heart. This woman, Martha, had awakened something inside of him, and he found himself hoping their paths would cross again. In the weeks following Martha's visit, Ian found himself watching the road eagerly each day, hoping to catch a glimpse of her arrival once more. Then one afternoon, right as he was finishing his chores, a familiar vehicle appeared in the distance, kicking up dust along the rugged track. Ian hurried to clean himself up as best he could in case it was indeed Martha returning as promised. Sure enough, when he made it to the center of the village, Ian spotted her organizing another interactive information session. Her eyes scanned the small gathering and lit up when they met his from across the way. She finished up her talk more quickly this time and headed straight for him.